Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the CCZone. I am your host, Redacted, joined by my co host, Chelsea. We are here for another week of Apollo League. I am so excited and happy to talk about this. So, Chelsea, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm really hungry, and so I got these chicken taquitos from Costco, and I'm not sponsored, but if I was, I would want to be sponsored by them because these are actually the best things that God has graced us on this earth with. So I'm happy, to be honest.
Flay, make it happen, man. We need more sponsorships. CCS sponsorships by Costco actually would go hard. And then I could maybe get discounts on their hot dogs and other
No, for
uh,
real.
other products that I try not to buy. Keep me out of Costco. It's an addiction. It is. It really is, though. It's kind of bad. But anyway, let's focus on the topic at hand because we're not the only ones here, right, Chelsea? We have a special guest with us here today who will be giving his thoughts and takes on the show. I'll let you go ahead and introduce uh, our special guest here when you're ready.
All right. Well, today joining us on the podcast we have um the winner of Upset of the Century, Daigen.
Hey, how's it going?
It's your
Thank you for.
profile picture. You're solo cute. Oh, okay. That's Aura. Hold on.
I mean, I just had to keep feeding into the bullshit, you know? I couldn't help myself.
What? Yeah, that's no.
And
I
that's current,
respect that.
right, Daigen? Like,
On my like quote unquote main account that I show up to teams with, yeah,
quote unquote main
that's current.
account. Flay, you know,
Quote
you do,
unquote.
you know, Flay's listen. Flay's always listening. So
I
Plays
mean,
always
Flay
listening.
has all my accounts, so he knows what's going on. Just cause
I mean,
he
plays
does, I
all.
guess he doesn't share with the class. I don't know, man.
I mean, I'm
okay.
always listening too. I got shooters, you know. So if you're smurfing, watch out.
Uh,
Either watch out or you're too bad and I don't care.
ooh,
That's an
Oh,
equally likely option.
I'm
I think if
definitely
you
category two.
that's
Can
a bar.
confirm.
I think if you're because I've played against like played in leagues and like played against Smurfs. They get caught and I'm like, you can just let them play. Like if you're smurfing and your record's like one
Just
and
let
two,
them play is
no, at some
crazy.
point do just let them play, right? Like you're clearly just not, a problem for the competition.
That's funny.
I mean,
Okay,
I'm not even trying to pretend that I'm low. That's the funny part. It's just what I've been called out for.
so
I mean, if it
Dyke,
helps, I saw your OPGG in roster checks and I did throw up in my mouth a little bit, so it's working.
and yeah, that is updated as of today, right? I
That
think I
yeah,
did ask
I
that.
clicked the update and then sent you the
Holy
screenshot for
shit!
sure.
Wait, Flay. Okay, that's not fair. If he can play in here, why can't I?
I mean, you could.
Besides me
You'd have
being
to
staff.
you'd have to get a team to pick you up
Hey, who trying to
though.
pick me up? Who wants me to be a sub? Maybe somebody on Lotus.
I mean, this is what's happening, right? Because Kyle is also trying to get a spot, and so now you're competing with her, and that's like, you know, this is staff on staff violence.
Staff on staff
You just gotta
violence
hit
is
up an owner,
crazy.
like
Hit up an owner. Did he cut out,
He
or
didn't
is that was
finish
that
his
what you were trying to
sentence.
say?
No, no,
Did we lose him?
no. No, we did lose him.
Oh,
We
we
lost the
did.
mid sentence. You do have to hit up an owner.
Oh,
That's
okay.
true. Nothing he said was wrong.
Okay. I
Um,
mean, I can always hit up Zol. You know, as always, Dorado is the CCS is always in the CCS's corner, or is it the other way around?
I don't know if Zol's here. Zol, if you're here, do you got unctacted for the next expansion of Dorado Gold?
That is crazy.
Uh,
All right, but yeah, enough dilly dallying, right? Let's get to the real content. The reason why the people are here. We are here for the CC Zone, and we have another wonderful slideshow prepared by WC. Um, and yeah, we're just gonna get right to it. Slide number 2, Week 3 match recap. Chelsea, take it away.
um, Yeah, so week three happened, and a lot of things happened that surprised me personally. I mean, I assume most of the league feels the same. Me personally, Lotus losing to Syndicate was a bit of an upset.
To you, and we'll get into that.
Okay, to me, grow up. Um, Elysium dropping a game to Gojo's gym, I think went against a lot of people's expectations. But obviously, rule of threes, I'm saving the best one for last. Theory of everything, taking down final boss 2-0, causing big money man Flay to have to eat some of his own paper.
Yeah.
Um, which
Coming soon.
will not be happening today. Will be happening at some point in the future.
Near future.
Near future, yeah, near future. Flay, as with most things in his life, does need to do a few Jack and Cokes before he can work up the courage to eat paper on live stream, and so we're sort of just giving him a week's layup for that. We did lose Daigen to some technical difficulty
Oh,
issues.
we did actually. Oh
I
shit, his
mean,
power went out. He said it's coming back though. Okay.
it's coming back. So what I'm gonna do is,
Okay. Let me.
I mean, we can talk about what are
Yeah.
your thoughts on these matches?
Okay, yeah. My thoughts, cause I was able to watch the week 3 matches, or well, the stream matches that is, plus a few of the, streams that were thrown in Apollo streams to see some of the perspectives there. But if we're just talking purely stream matches, I would say for me, it went as expected actually, because I was the only sole member to choose Syndicate over Lotus. So yeah, I say for CCS2, I think I know a little bit of ball. CCS1 once again also as expected, but that one was a little bit a bit more shakier for me just because these are new teams, new players that I really don't know. Yes, I know Panda, but as a producer, not as a player. I don't really know a lot of the players on either of those teams, so I kind of just went based off current history, and DOV Twisted seemed like the better choice than True Minded Gaming. Sorry, Cone. Sorry, Cool One. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now with that. What about you?
Um, Yeah, on DOV versus TMG, it did feel like a fight of the quote-unquote bottom of the barrel coming into it. Um, I think most people do have TMG as sort of the coveted 14th out of 14th spot in the league.
Daigen's back, by
And
the
in
way. We got
most
him back.
and in most games other than golf, right, having a high number is better. Unfortunately, not in power rankings. So DOV is actually, was the one coming in as the favorites. A 2-0 victory is also clean. I think one thing to note about that series is that the guy named New to Gangplank, who was a Gangplank one trick, got Gangplank, and then got his pockets ran, which I just think is really funny as a concept.
100%.
Because you have one thing, you pick your champion, and then you don't win on it. Another time that happened actually, Elysium versus Gojo's Gym. Gojo's Gym's top laner, learn new lanes, please, aka formerly known as Jax, because he's a Jax one trick, right?
Mm-hmm.
He got his Jax game one and he lost. I do think it's a little more acceptable because looking at the game, it's clear that the losing was happening by other members of his team
Mm-hmm.
that just sort of happened to result in his Nexus blowing up. I don't think Viva on the Rumble was a particularly important contributing factor to their victory. So Jax will get a pass on losing on his one trick, because it looks like his team sold him down the river, which
Sold
is
him down the river is
rough.
crazy. Oh my
But yeah,
god.
it's very interesting match recaps. And Daigen, are you back?
Yes.
I am back. Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Power went
What
out
are your
suddenly. My
thoughts?
bad.
You're all good. What are your thoughts on the week 3 matches before we go to our next slide?
I don't know. I feel like we saw some pretty interesting results, especially I think the one that stood out to me the most was Sin versus Lotus.
Why? Oh, we will talk
I
about that more. But go ahead. Sorry. Go on. Go on. Go
I
on.
I'm not say I'm not gonna say I'm surprised by the outcome, but how do I put this? I certainly don't think it was impossible, but I thought Lotus was gonna take the upper hand of that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
My one
very fair.
question before we move on: for everyone that thought Lotus was gonna win Chelsea and Daigen, did you guys think it was gonna be like a 2-0, or did you expect 3 games, or did you just like? I mean, those were the only two outcomes, right? So
Three
I mean,
games for. Oh, sorry. You go first. You go first.
I would have expected 3 games personally. I think both of them are good contenders. But I was expecting it to be favored towards Lotus in the
Like
end.
how much? What's the percentage or ratio you want to say? Because I'm very curious as to how, just saying I think Lotus I expected Lotus to win over Syndicate doesn't really give me too much to weigh on. So like, can you give me a bit more?
I would personally say 2 and 3 sets. I would say Lotus would win.
Wait.
So if they played 3 total sets of 3
Yeah.
games,
Okay, that's why I get you were saying. Yep.
I would
Okay,
expect
got it.
Lotus to take 2 of them.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. What about you, Chelsea?
Yeah, honestly, it ends up being about the same thing. I would
Slay.
have given Lotus, I would have given Lotus 65% odds to win the series. Is sort of how I felt going into it. Um,
Okay.
Clearly that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I didn't think that it would be blowout. Um, like Lotus has looked shaky.
Mhm.
Um, but Syndicate has also not looked good.
Mhm.
They dropped a game to New Origins. They got 2-1 by Final Boss. And that's sort of been their season.
Mhm.
And I mean, Final Boss is. I guess I should have thought about it more because Final Boss has been sort of power skilled to be a good team,
Mhm.
but Syndicate dropping their series to Final Boss, um, and now TOE has just 2-0'd Final Boss. So by the transitive property right, Daigen now owns Syndicate, and
Transitive
Voss is going to have to
property.
transfer his server ownership soon. And we'll get more into the who's better than who in Group A conversation because it requires an actual diagram that I've made later
Yes.
on in the slideshow. So that's a little preview for the future. But right now, we do have some flops of the week that we need to get through.
And yeah, flops of the week. Here we go. Take it away, Big Chels.
So there were 3 drafts that I wanted to look at. Um, First, the first 2 are going to be from Dorado Iota versus Khan because um, sort of just like what was going on in that series. This is the game 2 draft because I looked at it and I don't even care what happens in the rest of the series because I just can't. There has to be like at least like 5 different champions that aren't Melio that you can pick here. Like I guess in theory you can Melio ult, Mbessa ult, which is like cool, and then there's still an Mbessa in your backline, and she's still going to like eat you out for free.
Yeah.
And also now you're playing Lucian Nami into Yunara Emilio, and you're just playing League of Legends, like praying that your Emilio is like Lionel Messi. He's gonna like kick the
He
Lucian
does
away.
kick balls.
I think Lucian Nami has so much more um agency in this lane, and you're basically making the call that Dorado's bot lane sucks and that you can outscale it. But even if you're doing that, then just pick a support that has better scaling and better because you're playing Melio ult into like what Nami wave. Nice, bro. Good combo. You're going to Melio ult the Nami wave off of you. It's such a bizarre pick, and it's just for no reason. Where it's like why? Nobody is like twisting your arm, saying like you have to pick Melio or I'll shoot Flay in the head, which at some point you just that's a win-win if you don't pick the Melio. But regardless, now let's get to the next draft, which is from the previous game, which was even more disgusting than the first one,
Okay.
to be honest.
Here we go.
So here we see Khan have done what I call R5 Wukong. And I call it R5 Wukong because on the 5th pick of red side, they picked Wukong. Um,
Uh-huh.
so we're looking at this draft. Dorado Gaming Iota, game 1, pick Karma because they're meta slaves and they like winning. Um, Big respect to them. Khan answer with Nautilus, which is like pretty textbook.
Mhm.
Um, Karma Champ's what I would consider to be vaguely racist in bot lane, and so you need to pick something that can all in it and sort of stop it from hate criming your AD carry with mantra Qs, and so Nautilus fits that role. Varus Blind is it's like fine. It has one losing matchup really,
Mhm.
which is Sivir. Sivir was up. They did pick Sivir. Uh, Maybe we shouldn't have left that one up. I mean, it's not completely unplayable for Varus,
Mhm.
but I would say it's definitely Sivir favored, and you really are again. It's a bot lane pairing that says we are better than Iota's bot lane. And to be fair, their AD like didn't play bad this set. So like maybe they were better game one.
Queen Sticks is
If
asking, is Wukong bad into Trundle? I always pick Wukong into
Wukong,
Trundle.
yeah, I mean the theory is okay, right?
She's not sold on it,
Wukong's
Chelsea.
okay. So
State
how
your
Wukong's
case more.
passive works? No, we're going to do a little bit of learning on how
Ooh,
Wukong's passive works. What I'm going
ooh.
to do is I'm going to pull up the
You want me
ball
to?
wiki so I can read it straight from the source.
Oh, okay.
League of Legends wiki. We're going to go to
Queen Sticks, you're
Wukong.
getting some live learning here. Listen up.
So first of all, let's think about what items like Wukong and generally other boosters built, right? Wukong is building like Triforce, he's buying Thunder Sky, he's buying pretty much nearly exclusive HP, except he probably does want a Death Stance at some point in most games. Maybe not this one because you're playing into a bunch of freaks. But here, Wukong's passive, Stone Skin, innate. Wukong gains 6 to 10 based on level, bonus armor, and regenerates a percentage of maximum health every 5 seconds. Whenever Wukong or his clone damage an enemy champion or monster with his basic attacks or abilities, he generates a stack of Strength of Stone for 5 seconds, refreshing on subsequent hits and stacking up to 5 times. Stacks expire one by one every second when the duration ends. Strength of Stone for each attack, blah blah blah. That's not the important part.
Is that all
Actually,
in
no,
his
it is important.
passive?
No, it is important. Strength of Stone for each attack. Skin's effects are increased by 100% up to a maximum of 36 to 62 based on level. Bonus armor and total additional regeneration of 2.1 maximum health every 5 seconds. So Wukong's passive gives him a shit ton of armor. And if we remind ourselves what Trundle ult does, it means that when you get a shit ton of armor on Wukong, then Trundle ults you. Where does the shit ton of armor go? It goes from the Wukong, and it goes. Yeah, you guys have seen Trundle, right? It goes like a. And it's like a wave, and it goes straight into the Trundle. And then you are just giving the enemy Trundle a bunch of armor. You are losing all of your armor on Wukong, and you're playing into Sivir, so you're just going to accidentally get crit by a Sivir Ricochet, and you're going to get absolutely one shot.
Ooh. Sticks is
All
saying all
you
you do is bait out his ult and W
all
out.
you do
It's
is
not that
bait his
hard.
ult and W out, which is cool, except you're also the primary engage for your team. Um, so you can, yeah, you just do it. And like, let's also talk about the rest of the abilities. You have Pillar, which is really good at disrupting a fight. You also just win every single 1v1 duel against Wukong for about the entirety of the game.
I think Queen Stick should just like put up an R5 Wukong in her next match to and prove you wrong. That's what it's.
No, I
That's
mean,
what that's what it sounded like to me. Queen Sticks.
let's even
Yeah,
like take away the fact that we're like counterpicking
since it's not
ourselves.
that
Like
hard.
that's one thing, right? Um, it's okay, sure. Like, say for example, we're in a world that isn't this world, and we're in the fucking Twilight Zone, where Wukong is a fine matchup. I mean, it's like not unplayable because you're Wukong and you're like on slave duty. This is your R5. This is fate of the universe on the line. Pride said, "Give me Wukong." I just think I don't understand why we need to like blind mid on 4 here. Obviously, they picked Orin on 3, and Orin is going to Kali G. Sure, pick your top response. They picked Karma. You can get your karma response in early. That's kind of whatever, to be honest. I do think like in general, getting AD count like if you're picking like a Nautilus into karma lane, right?
Mhm.
Like you're picking a kill lane. I think AD counter pick is probably higher prio than jungle counter pick. So if you're looking for a Wukong anyway, just can pick it on 2, call it a day. You already have Nautilus, you know that you can like opt into some sort of like dive comp. But that's semantics, right? I mean,
Daigen, we
the
set
main
we
thing is like
set
you
Chelsea
show
off.
up, you show up to B4 and you're like, yeah, let me just blind victor. They banned 2 champions, and yeah, I think Diana, you kind of do have to ban it. I think the Syndra ban is also kind of questionable because that champion's like not very good right now, and there are a lot of mid laners that are more good. Um, Granted, I don't think Quay's on, but I think the Syndra ban is kind of like questionable. You have a Mundo HP stacking tank, and now you're playing a relatively short range mage, right? Like Hui and Syndra are equally immobile, but Hui just exists at a higher range. You're just getting like this blind pick for giving this blind matchup for free, and then your R5 is like Wukong, which you sort of have to pick, right? Like what like if you wanted to pick a champion that was a good matchup, right? Say you're playing against Trundle, you want to go like a Lilia here, which is probably they're pretty minimal targeted CC. You can like play like Lilia is kind of shit with your comp, so you can't even pick it. So like, what do you pick? I don't know. Like you've just drafted yourself into a hole because you just you're spending your
Remind
R5
me
counter
to
pick
never piss you off about a draft question
because
again.
it's like it's so fucking mind-boggling to me. We spent it's like
Let
blue side is like so overpowered, and the
uh-huh.
only thing that red side gets is like you get R5. That's like your thing. I mean, you get R3, which is nice. They didn't like fuck up R3, which I guess would have been worse than picking up R3 and R5. But R5 is supposed to be like such a that's the reason people pick red side, so you can get this fifth counter pick
Correct.
that is supposed to really tie up your composition
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in a way that excels into the enemy team. And you pick this champion that is functionally the same if you just picked it on fucking R2 anyway.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest,
Mm-hmm.
just send Mundo jungle no and pick a different top. Yeah, you could.
Nah.
That's also fine. But then it's like, I mean, Trundle's like good into Mundo too.
And with that
But
being
it's
said, let's move to
okay.
the next one, Chelsea.
Yeah, let's
Because
move to
there's
the
still
next
one more
one.
flop.
Yeah, there is still one more flop. This one's like less of a flop. This is actually in TOE
I don't know if you
versus
guys can see this. I hope you can. Otherwise, zoom in.
yeah. So I have to use the post game screenshots because I guess PPP. I would say this guy's literally never won a league game before, but this is his org's career first win, so I guess he has a pass. He didn't post the draft link. Um, I think Flight should
Yeah,
take
they
way
did.
too
Did they
big, and
not?
I'm just
They're supposed
I
to.
didn't see it.
I'm
I
about
don't know
to
what's
check
I
that.
said.
You keep talking. I'm
They're
gonna check that.
supposed to. I'm pretty sure.
Let me
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Lost says just pick 80 jungle like Neferi or something. Yeah, yeah, that's a good answer. See,
Oh yeah,
Lost
Daigen.
knows
Y'all didn't post
all.
draft link. We need that.
Okay.
Does anyone
It
have
is like
it?
20. It is like 20 pixels. Can you guys see the champions? I don't really care about the scores. I mean, the team I think did better won, but honestly,
If not, I'll just link it in the chat,
um,
and those of y'all on the server can go to look at it in the server.
yeah, just put it somewhere. I don't know. The point I'm making here is that we have this TOE draft. I don't even know which side there are because I don't get to see.
Oh shit. Who posted the Odysseus? You can't post links in the CCS Twitch chat. You have to ask first. God damn it. All right, let me unban him.
He got
You
auto
keep
modded.
talking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
someone unbanned my goat. Um, Yeah, so we look at this blue side composition. I'm just gonna name the champions: Ornn, Pantheon, Stylus, Corki, Leona. And you'd say they're like a bunch of like big dudes. You know? Would you say they're a bunch of big dudes?
Did we lose Daigen again? He's here, right? Oh, he's muted right now. Daigen, unmute.
Okay, Dagon's back. You know what? Yeah, actually, this is your draft. So, and you're not the one. Your side is not the one being claimed in this. So don't worry. Um. Okay. Well, he's dead. He unmuted, but I still can't hear him.
Dude.
So Redakted, you're gonna have to fill in. So we
Okay.
have a bunch of like pretty tanky champions, and then we look at red side's team. They have Mundo, who's cool. It's like good into Ornn. Um, you can just scale. You can split push. You do
Uh,
Xin
There he is.
You have
He's back.
Orianna.
draft
You went
draft link is up, by the way. I fixed it. That
Oh,
was on
okay.
me. My bad.
You're good.
okay.
Thank you.
Well, yeah. So we're looking at Doctor Mundo, Xin Orianna, Ezreal, Alistar. And my question for you is, who the fuck does any damage? Um, and I understand that this is like I don't know, it's Akata Akeda, I don't know how you pronounce it. It's like Akata drafting. And I think what had happened here is like Akata's like a really like high level player and he plays in like really high level leagues. And I think he's used to like high level Orianna and high level Ezreal who are like champions that do deal a lot of damage. I feel like a GM level Ezreal in a GM level game against these champions is going to be able to like space glide just because of regardless of how much more talented GM blue side draft is here, or GM, I don't even know what side they're on, GM TOE draft is here, the Ezreal player is like talented enough that you can kite around effectively. I think D4 cap Ezreal is just like a lot worse. Unless your name is like Godson, you are not going to be piloting that champion to be able to deal enough damage here. A lot of people in Silo just play it like a poke mage, or they do the opposite and they don't know their limits. They E and they get their can pussy ate by a Pantheon W. Both equally likely scenarios, to be honest. And when you have this Oriano, who I see Blackfire into Zhonya's with empowered Merc Treads, and that's not dealing any damage. Or I'll say it's really hard to deal damage, and it's clear that no damage was dealt. Um, and so I think this is a draft that requires skills that most players in this elo cap do not have. I think that's like it's like a larger point of like when you're coaching, and I'll see this from like a lot of coaches that are like higher elo than me. They will draft in ways and comps and champions that are like objectively like pretty decent in spots, but um that's also a good point. Silas has Mundo ult, Oriana ult, Alistar ult, and Ezreal ult is like not Ezreal's in ult are like not bad either. Um, yeah, this Odysseus guy just gets to have a field day. Yeah, he went 3-0 and 10, so he did get a little carried by Caxi, but like say he wanted to have a field day, he could have had a field day, you know. Um, I don't auto when I play Ezreal because you don't need to if your team is good. That's rage bait, so I will not be responding
Oh
to
my
that.
god, yeah. Ignore
That
Queen
is
Sticks for now.
that
Matter of
is
fact,
just
you want
pure
me to
rage
time her
bait,
out?
and
You want me to time her out?
no, don't time her out because I respect the game.
Alright.
That is pure unabashed rage bait, and I respect it for what it is. Um, so yeah, I mean I just seemed like doomed to fail, and from what I heard about this game, Resi had a few Resi incidents, and part of that is it's Resi. You take the good with the bad, and the good is like sometimes he has his carry performances, and the bad is sometimes he has Resi moments. That's just a high variance player. That's what you signed up for, and I think it's kind of hard for him to do anything like even if he's not eing in. And so that's all I have.
Any comments from you, Daigen? Or should we just move
I
on to the next
mean,
slide?
man, I
You didn't
feel
play
like
this draft, so what are your thoughts? How did you guys feel going
I've
into
already
the
Chelsea went
late
on a
commented
game?
on
fucking
this so
got
much.
on the
Holy.
train and didn't get up.
I so I think a lot of the commenting over the past couple days has been really hard focused target on Resi, and I don't know that it's been entirely fair. Don't get me wrong, um, Resi eing forward on far too many occasions, allowing us to force his cleanse or to pick him off after the cleanse was already down, etc., etc. Yeah, that put the team in a really, really bad spot because, again, you said who's going to do the damage, especially if Resi's dead, right? Um, but I also felt like a lot of it was Alistar just not buying the space for him. Like, Resi wanted to play aggressive. He wanted to be close enough to consistently put out damage. And yes, part of that is also, eating backwards and playing the fight front to back, but also, like, as a support, you gotta be there and peel your boy, right? And so that he can actually do the damage and not focus on people being in his face the entire game. So I don't know if it's entirely fair, what everybody's saying about Resi. He was definitely aggressive, but I feel like the burden is also partially on the rest of his team.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I agree with that. My point here isn't to flame Resi. My point here is that Ezreal is really hard to pilot in this game, and so I can sort of get where he's coming from, like why he wants to take these aggressive E's that are effectively putting him in a bad spot because it's really if you're playing a character like Kog'Maw, for example, against a bunch of health scalers, you sit still, you press W, your Enchanter Kitten presses spells on you. It's less difficult to pilot a Kog'Maw or something. I mean, I'm not saying pick Kog'Maw. I don't think that champ's good. I'm just using an example as a sort of stationary hyper carry, right? Something that can get through this front line. Something that has a little bit more consistent DPS that requires, like less, I guess, skill in terms of like weaving spells and autos and movement. It's a little more straightforward with one of those. Um, and yeah, so hashtag free resi, hashtag banek.
Yeah. And with that being said, next slide, we are going to focus a bit more on our special guest of the week, Daigen here, Org Talk. So yeah, I know this is your slide, Chelsea, but I figured I'd let your vocal
Yeah,
cords
it was
rest a
just
little bit, and so I'll ask some of the questions here. So Daigen, Theory of Everything Strong Force. You guys got your first win as an org. How are you all feeling about that? And what's it like in your own private server and whatnot? What were the emotions like after that win?
Definitely the whole org was celebrating. Everybody was pretty excited about that. It's been long overdue, but
Mm-hmm.
it was also, I mean, shit, even on week 3, we didn't get the chance to play as a 5 stack. So it's kind of a struggle. We still had PPP filling in for our ADC who wasn't able to make the game that night.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping we get a good showing on week 4 with our actual core 5 present and having played previous games together.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the biggest thing was that it showed a little promise. It showed that we're actually coming together as a team, and we're not a joke of an org either.
Yeah.
I mean, the rest is yet to be seen,
Mm-hmm.
but at least it gives us a good start, right?
Yeah. And how old is your org, by the way? For myself and other viewers who may not know.
I mean, fresh. I don't actually even have that answer, but weeks.
Okay, got it. Nice, nice. Well, congrats. Because I just didn't know if like you guys have been around in other leagues, or like, if you guys were a like you said a brand new baby spanking org here. So congrats on the first win. Chelsea, I'll let you take that middle question because I'm kind of curious as
Yeah.
to more
So
the context there.
yeah, so PPP is someone, and it's less of like a PPP interrogation and more a segue into a greater conversation on org owners. But PPP is someone that's been in the scene for a while. This is not like some random that's coming in and making org, which is something that happens a lot, by the way. There's a lot of orgs that are started by like complete fucking randoms, and they put in a few teams, and they all generally suck, and then they leave. But PPP, he's been through the ringer a bit, and so going from I don't know how much you know him as a player, but what is your experience with him as an org owner as he's adjusting to this new role?
I personally didn't know him as a player beforehand, and I would say so far as an org owner, he is fairly hands off when it comes to a lot of the core team stuff. But it's just because he's setting up multiple teams, right? He wants to have a presence in all the current tournaments and in I think 2 rank brackets as well. I think we've also got a team for the M100 Titan League. I'm not sure. But more or less he's spending a lot of his time putting together these rosters, and he's really trying to pull all of his connections to get some decent rosters together. um so I think it's a big give him a chance, let him get everything together, let him get everything set up. And not every team might make the best showing, but I think there's some teams that have pretty good opportunities to take some chips even at the start of this org. And I don't think even the very first team, which is our own, is out for the count. I think we can grow and definitely take some games, if not a chip.
And how many teams are there now for Theory of Everything in totality?
I'm not 100% certain. If I wanted to take a shot in the dark, I'd say 4,
Oh wow.
but it
Okay.
might be 5. I'm uncertain.
Okay.
JP says 3,
3.
so
Okay. Okay. Got you. 3 that have
four
played.
four
4
starting
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
And I guess side question: why? Um, I mean, you're not PPP, but so I don't know how much you know, but do you know why so many teams so quickly as a new org? I feel like typically org owners might want to play it safe and start with 1, maybe 2, but 4 is very ambitious, in my opinion.
I've definitely seen it both ways.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier in me playing comp, I have been part of teams that were just 1 or 2 teams part of an org and kind of stayed that way because they didn't really want to grow bigger. And I've also seen the shotgun method where we just get as many teams together as possible and we just compete every slot that we can get, right?
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think the second option just lets you grow bigger as an org quicker and get your name out so that you can potentially get better players to fill the slots that are not performing in the long run. But then the shortfall of that is you also might end up being known as the Mickey Mouse group if you aren't performing in any of the tournaments that you're showing
Yeah.
up to, right?
And
I
as an
think
org owner, you're spending quite a bit of money because I'm not asking for finances, but I would presume as the org owner, PPP is paying the entry fee for all these teams. So, you know,
I do believe so. Yeah.
yeah. So,
I think the biggest thing that makes it a little bit different to the option two, as mentioned,
mm-hmm,
is that PPP is really trying to take the time and put together the best rosters that he can.
mm-hmm.
So I mean, hopefully it bears fruit. I would love to see that for him.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. Okay. Chelsea.
Yeah. And I want you to give. You don't have to like name and shame people, but if you do want to, that would be,
We love
that'd
content
be
here at the
fine.
CCS,
But
Daigen.
I mean, I want to hear your perspective. I don't know how much like comp you've played before, but what would you say makes a good org? What would you say makes a bad org? Like generalizing and not just at TOE, but in the general amateur scene.
In my past experience, I would say it's their ability to get good coaching and managerial staff. And I really think that you can take some of the worst players and make them a really good cohesive team as long as they have the willingness to show up and put the extra time in for scrims and games and review. But to be able to do that, you have to have good coaching staff. And obviously, you don't need like a challenger player to be coaching an IBSG league
Oh
if
my
you're
god,
making
yeah.
one around that rank, right? Even just an emerald or a diamond player could do so effectively. But having somebody that has a good fundamental understanding of the game and macro and is willing to sit down with the team and go through all of their mistakes so that they can improve as players and generate a better fundamental understanding of the game at whatever rank they're at. I think that makes like a really, really big difference in how an org can show up in the long term.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree
I
with that.
completely agree with your
Mm-hmm.
points in terms of like the good. In terms of the bad, I mean, I do think that there's a lot of org owners, specifically the ones that are more disconnected from the scene itself. Like I feel like people like Zol, people like PPP, like Coffee, even like Skeet is like they seem pretty active within the scene and sort
Oh,
of
I thought you were gonna call
get the
them
vibe.
bad Ornos. That's why I was
Oh
like,
my
oh,
god.
Chelsea's getting the shotgun and loading it
Oh my
up.
god, no. No, 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 no. They sort of, they're tapped in. I've played under orgs for people, um
Flay says you're trying to get
I did say
fired.
naming and shaming would be good content. I played for Contingent, which, in on paper should be like a really good, not like a really good, but on paper they should be a competent like organization. They have like OQ teams, that play. They've really invested across like all brackets. But I really like I believe that they're so like disconnected from like the level that I play at, which is lower than their good teams and then higher than their bad teams. And so our team, it was a very like strict regimen. We had to play like an X amount of solo queue games per week, which is like fine, right? Leagues make to do that, but we
Mm-hmm.
had to play them on like specific champions. And the sort of logic of this guy was, he was like, yeah, we want it so that if players like move up and down between teams, between splits, they should have all the same champion pool. And so he just sort of mandated an org-wide champion pool, and it was so strange because it was the same list of champions. Well, at the start, it was the same list of champions for each rank, and so I was like looking at it, and he was having like bronze players like learn Zoe and Lee Sin, and that's really stupid,
That's
just
bad.
as a concept.
Yeah.
And I remember just like absolutely not enjoying playing the game because like to stay in the org, 'cause they did pay our entry fee, and we were winning, so we kind of did have to like do our best. I mean, my AD just stopped playing them at some points once we got into playoffs. Like, what are you gonna do? Kick me off during playoffs? And I remember just like playing. I had to play like 5 games of Gragas Jungle, and that champion had not been real for about a few years before. And when has Gragas Jungle been meta in the past 2 years?
Jesus, I
No,
forgot that was a
right?
thing.
It was like, so it was just like a waste of my fucking time. And we did win that split, not because of the, and I didn't play Gragas Jungle once, right? It was like Gragas and Sedge, and I'm like, I'm not playing fucking Sedge. Like they're it, whereas like in other orgs that I've liked, like for example, I play an Akuma for BOL Diamond. I really like that because Coffee says, Chelsea, you go do everything, and I'll pay the entry fee. And for me, now that I know enough people, that's enough for me. I can call it a day. And that's That's game recognizing game. I respect it. Zol, he's very hands on. He's not like laissez-faire like Coffee is, but he is really tapped into trying to get the best players, trying to get the best coaches. He uses his wide range of players, not as sort of a rigid model, but as a way to help support his organization. And so I do think it's like really possible to integrate whatever type of org, whatever type of style you have. You just got to really think about like what is most beneficial for my players as they play. And I hate Skeeth, so I have no comment on Lotus.
Sorry, I'm talking to the Twitch chat here, but I definitely can agree with that. I have very minimal experience with comp. With this, as you kind of know, you aired me out last week.
I wasn't gonna bring it up this week, but if you do bring it yourself, Redakted, has your team won? Did you win a game since
No,
we
lost.
spoke
We
last?
went completely winless this split. It's
Oh
over.
my
It's
God.
finally over though. Thank fucking God. Me, the top laner, and the ADC, we left the team. And we're gonna go make our own team. And
Okay.
we're not gonna do any paid leagues as of right now. We're gonna do free leagues only, cause yeah.
Are you gonna go back to the mid lane, or is jungle?
No.
Your
I'm
home?
still gonna play jungle. Actually having a decent time learning the role, but yeah. Playing comp, and I guess our team is not even an org. It's just a team because we didn't have an org. But my ADC, he is like affiliated with like Milk Esports and stuff. I guess they had scouted him and like we're pouring resources into him. So I don't know if we eventually might become a Milk team in the next upcoming splits of tourneys and whatnot or whatever. But yeah, there definitely is a difference between like Shiblet. There definitely is a difference between just being a team, being an org, and like the amount of care and willingness from people or players that want to see you do well. And it's actually pretty kind of cool seeing some of these other people want to teach you more about the game. I probably is an ego boost for them too because I'm over here like, oh, I ain't gonna lie, I never knew jungle camps had levels. Been playing the game
Oh
since
my
season
God.
5, bro. But wait, I'm not a jungle main either. I'm not
Yeah,
a jungle
that's fair.
main. I'm an
That's fair.
ADC main. Okay, I'm off
I
rolling.
I think so. Good piece of CCS content would be me VOD reviewing your comp games on stream.
Oh my god,
We
please
can
don't.
we can
Please.
no live coaching. I
No.
will do it for free. I will do it for
No,
free.
no, no. Oh wait.
Okay, wait.
Maybe the
But
future
I have
split.
to
The future
ask.
split, not this one cuz this one
Sure.
yeah.
I mean,
Go
no,
ahead,
next
Daigen.
time you scrim or even your solo queue games, I will do a live VOD review with you on CCS
As
stream.
long as you're not mean to me cuz my current coach is harsh, but it's
I'm
needed.
not mean. I'm kind
So
of mean.
I do
Okay, let's
have
bring
to
it on
ask. You
here.
didn't know that jungle camps have levels, but
No,
did you know
because
that minions have levels?
I am an ADC main. This is
Right.
very important. I am an ADC main. I've played ADC the entire time I've played League. I was ADC and mid secondary. I played
But
jungle
as an ADC main,
occasionally, very occasionally. I never knew jungle camps had levels. I'm sorry, and I don't play the game that much anymore. So leave me alone.
that's but no, that's understandable. But as an ADC main, did you know that minions had levels?
Maybe.
That's
Anyway,
the part
moving
that
on
was
to the
most
next slide. Circle of
All right.
suck.
So this is what I mentioned earlier. So this is what we call in esports the circle of suck, where in Group A, a lot of teams have beaten a lot of other teams. And we can see with this helpful diagram that I've made using my professional design tools, Microsoft Paint, it creates a bit of a cycle, which makes it hard to rank these teams in terms of strength. For example, Dorado has beat Khan, who's beat TMG. TMG is the only team that hasn't beat anyone. You can see they're sort of off to the right. They've lost to Khan, they've lost the final boss. That's sort of their whole thing, losing. But the
Someone
rest of it,
call
we have this like
Cone.
cool little circle thing where Dorado's beat Khan, who's beat TOE, who's beat Final Boss, who's beat Syndicate, who's beat Lotus, who's beat Dorado. And then Dorado also has a bit of an advantage because they've beat TOE during, I believe, week 1. So this is it's interesting, and both of you guys have done power rankings, which we will see in the next slide when we get to it.
Oh yeah.
But when you have to reconcile, normally power rankings are a little bit easier, where you just say, oh, this team beat this team, we'll just move them above this one. But it's not possible to do that sequentially anymore because of this cycle, right? If you keep putting teams above teams that beat them, suddenly, like you might have Lotus down in 8th when Dorado's up in 3rd, and Lotus, right? So how do you reconcile, which, where you place teams when you are going to guaranteed have to go against the match results at some point?
You talking to me or
Good
Daigen?
place
Sorry.
to start. Good place
yeah,
to
either of
start
you
is
can.
putting Team G at the bottom, I think.
Yeah, no, that's good comms. So why they pay you the big bucks, Daigen?
No, I think we'll see it kind of when we get into the ranking for me, but I think there's definitely kind of a good split between where the teams are at right now. You have a good grouping of what the higher teams are that are taking more consistent games and sets from the other teams, but they're only struggling against each other. And then you have kind of like that mid-range who's struggling with the higher teams, struggling with each other. And so they're randomly taking games from maybe a team that has a different play style. If one plays more aggressive and one plays more passively, and so they're getting punished by that one team. And then you see a really stable play style come in, and they're taking advantage of the aggressive one, right? So in the mid range, I feel like you're seeing a lot of that because um, the players' skills are kind of all around the same. Whereas in those higher teams, you're seeing some of those players that excel a lot, right? And so they're taking games just simply due to like hand stiff or having better coordination for playing so long together.
Yeah.
There you go.
I can agree with
And
that.
Redacted, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts on the
Do you
circle
have
of
any other
suck.
ones? Yeah, like how does that impact how you ranked the teams?
I'm not gonna lie. It did have a strong impact on how I ranked them. A few teams in particular, which we will see on the next slides or next slide. Sorry. Um, but yeah. Let me put it like this: the bottom teams that are, still trying to find their way, they may have shifted around, but they're still in that bottom third. I literally kind of have my rankings in sections, and it's like that bottom section, and you can move your way throughout that. There's that middle section where you can also move your way throughout that, and then there's that top section, which there was drastic change for me in that section. So I guess without further ado, should we just get to it, or
Yeah,
do you
let's
need
get
more
to it.
from me? All right, let's get to
Well,
it. Oh
I
wait,
think
who's gonna talk
I think
first?
I think no, I'll talk.
Okay.
You're really like edging chat.
I
All
know.
right.
That's the point. Hey, I'm a showman for a reason.
Um, and yeah, so last week we had preseason to post week 2.
I'm gonna throw
Now we're
this
going post week 2
in
to
the
post week
Discord too
3.
for them.
Ideally, right, if people like this format, this is how I'm going to keep doing it. So next time we do it, it'll be post week 3 to next update. If people hate it, ping Flay and don't ping me. If you ping him enough, he will complain to me that people are pinging him, and then he will get the message. If you ping me, I'm gonna nuke the server. So do it that way you will.
Do that at your
I
own
know,
risk.
I know now. I do know now. I say that I will get pinged a bunch of times, but
Oh yeah, it's
if you
coming.
can ping me with something funny enough, it'll be okay. Now that I've yapped long enough for people to actually read this, we're gonna go left to right. Daigen, um, I know you mentioned before we spoke that you don't really have a full picture of all the team, which is completely fair, by the way. There's coming in. It's really hard to rank all 14 teams. We don't really know anybody. So just like sort of talk to me, talk to chat about how you feel. Anything you feel like you may have to justify. I'll have more questions. But I want to hear your initial thoughts first before I ask them.
I love that Chelsea's immediately getting pinged in CCS already. That's
Yeah, they're
fantastic.
assholes.
Yeah,
Scott has
I will
pinged me
say
5 times in DMs, which was not the. I guess it counts.
I don't know a ton of the teams or a ton of the players that are playing, so my my take is definitely from a less educated point of view, let's say. Um, but I was kind of just going from my gut. And again, like I said, I kind of would break it down into categories of 1 to 5. I think all of the teams in that category have pretty consistently proven that the only teams they struggle against are also the teams in 1 to 5, right? Whereas whenever they're facing anything 6 or lower, they just kind of take the games and they're free. Um, the 6 to maybe 10, I'm not entirely certain about New Origins, to be honest. But 6 to 10, I think they're definitely struggling against the top 5 teams, but within their own kind of 6 to 10 range, the games are free for the taking. It could go in either direction, in my opinion. And then I think the last 4 teams are just really struggling to prove kind of where they are. So, uh, my 1 through 5 range, I would say that looks pretty fair, just based on who's taking games from who and who's kind of performing week to week. My 6 to 10, honestly interchangeable. I may have given Theory of Everything a little bit of grace, but it's because I believe in us, of course. Um, but I don't have a ton of hope as it currently stands for the last few teams, unless they maybe make some roster changes or get some really game changing practice in.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's completely fair. You did mention that 6 through 10 were 6 through 10 or 6 through, I think it was 6 through 10 you said, that were pretty fluid, and I think that definitely is, I'd say, probably the most controversial part of your rankings, but
I'm taking a look at it right now and more in depth. I'm looking at these numbers here.
it's good that you're sort of like addressing it, because that's obviously the questions that people will have. One thing I do want to point out that's really interesting is TOE beating Final Boss obviously brings them up in the rankings. Um, but what it also does, and this happened with me too, is that because you guys go up, Khan gets a little power scaled here, and because Khan beat you guys with your, I presume, intended starting AD carry, unless you think PPP is going to show up every single week, on his on his off roll. Um, in theory, right, it means that Khan beating you with your intended starting roster when you guys have proven that is a point in favor of them as well. Um,
Well,
which is
Khan beat us on our intended starting roster the very first night we ever got to play together. We
yeah,
hadn't even scrimmed as a team before that. So I I have a lot of confidence in Khan. I mean I also did tryouts in that org and I've played with a bunch of their players, so they are some of the players I am probably most comfortable commenting on. I do believe that getting together as a team, if they commit, they can have a good showing. Um, and so the fact that they won against us, even in our full starting roster, I'd like to give us a little grace because we hadn't got the chance to play together. But I do think they're good players, and I think they play well and complement each other as a team. So once they shake out some of those bugs, I think they'll have a good showing, and that's why I rated them higher.
yeah, and I actually want to address a point because it's not just you that brings this up. I've seen it happen a lot. People put a lot of stock in like first or second time like playing together, which is like fair, right? And that's why I have separated power rankings into at X point and just like championship contenders, because a lot of these teams don't have much games together. I mean, you mentioned it, Khan mentioned it, Lost was always mentioning it when we talk about him losing. Um, that is just the case for a lot of teams, and you know, the championship contenders are supposed to represent like how good we think the scaling is gonna be. Um, Ultimately, for these post week 3 things, we are trying to evaluate things as they are, to the best of our ability. Obviously, without group strength parity, and like we only have 3 cross groups in, which we'll be talking about more later. It's hard, but like in Arceal, it is a lot of people playing with new rosters. The rosters were made specifically for this league. It's not like it's a very new cap. Um, and we are the only ones currently doing it, so it
And we
makes
didn't
sense
eat none
that
of y'all.
Yeah, I know. I'm letting Lost, Aftermoon, Egg, like all these like players that have played in like Halo, like there's truly like you know, no restrictions, and so it's going to be a new format. New teams are going to be. Um,
Uh-oh, did I
yeah,
make you lose your train of thought?
no, I made myself lose my train of thought. I
Oh,
do
okay.
that very often. Um, so let's move on. I'm going to talk about my rankings and some of the teams
Mm-hmm.
that I moved. I think my biggest question here was really how strong groups are relative to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because I figured there was two ways I could interpret it. Where if I think Group A is significantly stronger than Group B, what I could have done was like um, Elysium, and similar to Daigen's ranking actually. It would involve something with Hydra going down, Rush maybe going below Iota, but Iota lost a lot. And that I think Rush probably stays at one still, but like Hydra would probably go down below Syndicate. Um, Lotus and Final Boss probably would end up below Elysium and even Skyloft. Um, no, it's the other way. Rather, Con and Theory of Everything would go above Elysium and Skyloft, right? And that if that's what we think, like Group A is like super strong. Con and Theory of Everything gets scaled up a lot. Hydra goes down. Like all these things change. And if I think Group B is like really like the true like strong group. All these matches in Group B have been close. A lot of 2-1s between the top teams. Skyloft Spire is 0-3 with
Mm-hmm.
a consistent 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 against Elysium, Hydra, and Rush, who are all considered to be good teams. Um, these are it's so if Group B is higher, then Skyloft goes up, Elysium goes up, Lotus goes down, Final Boss goes down. Sin may even drop a bit because they dropped a game to New Origins Aetherus. DOV would move up to Hydra probably takes the number 2 spot in that case. And what I did was I split the difference because I do think these groups are kind of these are kind of equal strength until proven otherwise. Looking at just at the results of cross group, Rush 2-0 Lotus pretty convincingly. So it is like slightly group B favored. I think the cross groups have sort of evened out my perception of preseason, where
Mm-hmm.
because preseason I went into this thinking that A would be handily stronger than B.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a pretty unbalanced group, and then cross groups are coming in, and the results aren't looking as good for A.
Do
Like Syndicate
you
beat New
know the
Origins,
count
but it was
right now too between the groups? I haven't.
yeah. So Group B. Um, they beat Group A in week 1. That was Rush versus Lotus.
Mm-hmm.
Week 2, Group A beat Group B, but it was a Syndicate 2-1 over New Origins.
Yeah.
And I almost think that Syndicate dropping a game is like good power scaling for Group B. It's hard because New Origins has 2 matches, one of them against Syndicate, and one of them getting like slapped around by
Oh
Rush.
yeah.
Um,
That series
they
ended
got
quick too.
they got absolutely slapped around, but
Yeah.
again, that's like it's a good number 1 team, pretty.
Yeah.
So it's hard to scale them off that. And then week 3, DOV 2-0 TMG, which is Group A victory over Group B, but also even with TMG being
That was a
in
bouncy
what I
house
think is
that
stronger group,
series.
TMG sucks, right? So it's like hard to evaluate.
But
I
DOV
mean, I do
still
think,
had a little. They had a little bit of hard time putting them to bed too.
and what
Yeah.
I'll do is, it's funny you say that, Redacted,
Mm-hmm.
because you have DOV at 7th,
Yeah.
and me and Daigen have DOV at 11th and 12th respectively.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was gonna I was about to ask you like why are you such a DOV defender, but I'm also hearing you say that DOV struggled against TMG. So I want to hear your thoughts on DOV before me and Daigen give ours.
Sure. So like I said, for me, I'll just come out and say it. I have them in sections, and those sections are interchangeable, so the numbers really don't mean anything. It's more
Well, then why
about
did this
this
guy indicate the sections, bro? And section
because
Samuel over here.
you sent me the template, so I followed your template.
I will show you how to do it within the template
Eh,
before next week.
Alrighty. So anyway, my sections are if you go top 6, 1 through 6, that's one section. 7 to 10, that's the middle section, and then everything else is the bottom. So to me, all those teams within those sections are currently somewhat interchangeable, except for probably, excuse me, except for Rush right now, and I would say that's it. Just Rush, to be honest. Rush clearly is starting to look like the strongest team to me, which is actually insane, given that their original support ranked out, and then they replaced them with Volter 88, and they're still like kicking ass. So we might have to send the shadow government to go do some investigating over there. But anyway, yeah, the reason that's why I have DOV where they are. So yes, I have them at 7th, but that doesn't mean it's a real 7. It's more like they're 7 through 10. Because those middle of the pack teams to me, DOV, TOE, Elysium, Khan, I feel like they can move up, but I just will need to be proven that they have the potential to. So that's my thought process on it. Because remember, once again, too, I don't know a lot of these players as much as maybe you or Daigen does. So my knowledge is a bit more ignorant, I guess you could use the word, compared to yours or Daigen's, who might. Daigen, I don't know how long you've been playing comp, but like, and also I'm not in y'all's elo, right? I'm trying to get there, but I'm not there yet. I don't know if I ever get there.
Well,
So
if you look at the picture on Daigen's profile, I think you actually are in.
oh yeah, I am in Daigen's elo.
That's crazy.
That actually, wait, Daigen, I
go.
actually am in your elo, but I'm not in Chelsea's elo, which is where most of y'all are. So
no, I mean even then I've only played one previous split in Diamond Cap League, and
how are
my
you
team
playing
only
in
took
Diamond
second
Cap
place,
leagues as
right?
Gold 4, dog? What are you?
Well, I mean I was Emeralds.
Oh,
The
okay,
whole reason I wanted you to put that as my profile picture is because it's the running joke that like, yeah, okay, I have 400 games in Gold 4, but I'm also playing like 120 games of Jinx support, and just like I play on that account like I play norm games, right? Like I don't if I want to actually rank up, I play on the other accounts that are linked. So I don't know. It's just funny to me. But I mean, I would say for me, like dropping games to TMG, I just feel like that's a red flag.
Let's be clear, they did not drop a game to TMG.
Yeah,
They did show them.
They struggled. Yeah.
Redacted's take is that they struggled. So
okay,
yeah.
and when I say struggled, I don't mean like it was hard, like struggle bus. I'm just saying they made some boneheaded mistakes, right? And that's kind of what I mean by struggle. Like I remember their coach was even in the comms with us, and he was like, "What are they doing?" You know, not like, "Oh my God, why is this game still going on?" So I just want to make sure.
No, but a better team would take advantage of those mistakes,
Correct.
and it would probably result in their loss, right?
Correct.
So,
like how Rush put New Origins to bed, like literally in 2 hours or less, I think it, and they started later. it was, yeah, it was bad.
I think one few points on that. One, getting called boneheaded by a bald guy is crazy. Second of all,
did I say that?
Yeah.
Oh.
My take on DOV is they did make a very objective upgrade this week by adding Smoke to their roster. I think my biggest question with them preseason is I don't know anybody, you know, I don't know if they got shooters. Smoke is a decent player from what I've seen of him, which admittedly is like not as much. I know he, hangs out with like Sunja and like those people, and I'm pretty sure he won be a World Premier the time TSI won it. I'm unsure. So I'm not gonna, you know, not gonna promise nothing in that regard. But he's at least had comp experience, and the scrims I've seen him play, he's decent. Their top laner gets to go back mid laner. So I don't get to cyberbully him anymore for his poppy, unfortunately. But I mean, he's definitely looking better mid lane, so it's clear that it was a pretty decent decision. I think if TOE lost, DOV would be at 9 right now.
For you.
Maybe 8, but I don't think you can convince me that Skyloft doesn't have better results. But I think ultimately
so you
TOE's victory, I think TOE's victory over Final Boss scales both them and Con harder than DOV 2-0ing
And is that
TMG.
because Skyloft is 1-2ing every single one of their matches so
Yeah,
far?
they're 1-2ing they're 1-2ing. They went 1-2 Rush, which Lotus couldn't take a game off of Rush. Skyloft did. 1-2 Rush, 1-2
What
Hydra,
was that draft? Let me
1-2
look at that shit. You
1-2
continue. Mm.
Elysium is really 1-2 Elysium is interesting. I think I'd be if they won the Elysium series, I'd be more comfortable putting Skyloft at around like that 4-5 mark. But um, I don't really have much faith in sort of either of them yet. I think if both of them win their matches this week, it will be a big boost. And if Lotus Final Boss or Sin start to slump, I can see those spots being very easily takeable. But I mean, I think DOV improved. I don't think 2-0ing in TMG like proves that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I'm giving a speculative increase. In my opinion, a decent bit of respect. I don't really know. We will see next week.
Yeah.
Do we have any other? Let's touch quickly on the championship contenders, um, before we move on to
Oh, and
talking about next week.
yeah, I got something to talk about too once you're done. So
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So championship contenders, Daigen and I both have Dorado Iota, XSV Rush as top two. You have XSV Rush one and Dorado Iota third below Syndicate. Redacted, um,
oh, we're going right to me again?
yeah, no, I mean you're the odd man out here, so what's going on?
Really? Okay, wait, yeah, I'm looking at you guys. You guys wait, sorry, hold on. Are your championship contenders also based on like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6? Or is it just
Yes, they're in order.
they're in order?
Mine were also in order, but I
Okay.
kind of
No, I
assumed yours were
mean,
not.
yeah, mine are in order too. Who am I kidding? Um I just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page.
Oh, good.
I once again, I just think Rush right now is the best team. That's what. Oh, that's why I have them there. Iota. I don't know too much about them, but I'm never one to discount a dog team. I've seen some of the syndicate players play, mainly Sean, Epi champion. Former CCS defending champion. Technically, if you go by the previous league we had and the now current league, this is literally like the successor to that or the next thing. So technically, Sean's Syndicate fan club are the defending champions of our previous league, of Apollo League. So just putting a little target on their back. But yeah,
Bit of a stretch, but yeah, sure, technically.
let me cook. But anyway, yeah, that's why I have dog there, just in 3. I'm never gonna like, unless they're complete shit, I'm not gonna discount a Dorado roster. Zoe has obviously been doing this going on like 4 or 5 years now, so he clearly knows what he's doing. Um, and I feel like Dorado rosters, if they're not, um, if they're not developmental rosters or if they're not overpowered rosters in terms of like they're just so strong, they typically scale throughout the season. So I feel like that's what this dog roster is probably doing, and that's why I have them there where they are right now.
I Daigen, what are your thoughts?
Yeah,
You
why do you
wanna?
guys have them at 1?
I don't want to take all the waves.
Um, I don't know. For me, having played against Dorado, they're oppressive. I think they've got their shit together.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously haven't had the chance to play against Russian Hydra, but I've seen good things out of their drafts, how they've performed, and I do know some of the members of the teams. So I do think that those teams are both very promising, and I think they're high contenders for championship or at least playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I feel like Iota just has that step up. I think their players in general are, or at least some of their players are just better than most of the people in the league.
Hmm.
I think it will kind of comes down to a hand stiff. If you have a couple really good teams competing each other, but one's getting a slight edge because they're just playing the fights better, or they're getting smaller advantages in, say, the bot lane or jungle or whatever it is, I think those add up pretty consistently throughout a game, and I think that's what puts Dorado Iota ahead right now.
Damn, and you know what? I just realized we're not gonna see them play like Dorado and Rush until potentially playoffs because they're in the same group. God damn it!
I
It's
mean, that's a bit of the surprise. I will say, um, the it's a thing where Rush, I don't know how much they can like scale. This is a core that's played together for a while,
mm-hmm,
and it's a good core, and it makes sense to put the people back together. I don't really feel like any of the Group A teams are without fault.
mm-hmm.
Lotus and Final Boss collapsed this week. Syndicate got a good victory over Lotus, and I think if Syndicate continue to,
Mm-hmm.
play well, they will rapidly rise to that like third or second spot
And
until they play Iota.
mm-hmm.
I need one more week. But like Lotus doesn't like look particularly stable.
Yeah, let's
Final Boss doesn't look particularly stable.
yeah.
Um,
Let's
and
talk
so out
about
of
that
all,
more for sure. The Lotus fall and the final boss fall, because I'm looking at all of our rankings right now of like where we had them. Well, just you and mine, because Daigen doesn't have post week 2. You had Lotus drop 2 slots and final boss drop
or
4. Wow. Yeah. Likewise, I had Lotus drop from 1 to 6, and final boss just 1 slot at this point. So yeah, go ahead and talk more about that because I really want to. I mean, those were the big upsets, right? Like, so
yeah.
I want to get into that a bit more.
For me, Lotus. I mean, I'd move them from 1 to 3 because it's clear that, I mean,
3 to 5.
it's clear that no, pre last week I
Oh,
moved them
last
from
week. Oh,
one.
last week. Got
So,
it.
so over the past 3 rank, they've gone from 1 to 3 to 5, and
Damn.
it's clear that something terrible is happening. In the Lotus facility, the Lotus function, just the way they draft and the way they play, it feels very solo queue.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, Aftermoon is winning on Fizz,
The
but he's
jizz.
picking not just Fizz, and you know, I Aftermoon very recently to me has become a player that has been trying to become discount Chelsea and play assassins like respectfully, which good for him. I think we do need more assassin players in the jungle, but it is something that's hard to get teammates to be able to play with. I'm seeing stuff like the Rumble, which I think is a very good jungle champion. Um, but, me personally, as someone who's been in a spot where you have to play types of like unorthodox junglers with in a lower elo bracket,
Mm-hmm.
it's a situation where it's kind of hard to play around it. I mean, I'm very lucky that when I play in M100, I'm very grateful to my teammates that are willing to like learn and like get used to it, and they're also like good enough that they can like cover for the typical weaknesses of those champions. And it's clear that like something of that sort is not happening here, and whether that's an Aftermoon issue or whether that's an Aftermoon's teammates issues, um, something's gonna have to be figured out
Yeah.
because it's clear that like Aftermoon, like when he can get into a comfortable spot, like the Fizz, and I assume if they scrim, I'm sure he's like picking his Fizz, and he's picked it. That's his. I'm not gonna say what he calls it, but that it's something that he's become known for, and
Yeah.
so they're going to need to get in the lab and figure that out with other carry champions, or they're just gonna need to like
Mm-hmm.
switch back to normal draft. And like I selfishly hope they don't because I really do enjoy seeing stuff like what I was seeing. Like I hate when jungle is just like Sundered Sky and Samuel versus Sundered Sky Samantha. It's so like disgusting every
Thunder
single
Sky
fucking
Scan
game.
versus Thunder Sky
Watching
Scan.
like mm, watching people show up to the fucking Bruiser factory,
Yeah.
and so I do want Lotus to figure it out. However, they've not figured it out,
Yeah.
and it's looking a little disgusting. So they've gone from first to fifth over since preseason.
Daigen, I
I
know
mean,
you don't have them like previously ranked on yours, but where did you have them previously up to now? And what are your thoughts on like the fall of Lotus currently?
Lotus specifically, I still have them as a championship contender for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping they get over some of these issues that they're going through,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Where did you
I
have them
think
previously? Like, 1, 3, 5? Or did it say the
Probably
same?
just if I had to say, I'd probably just swap Sin and Lotus. I'd
Okay,
probably
so about 4
still
or 5 swap.
4 and 5, but reversed.
Hmm.
Um, but no, I think they have an opportunity to still prove that they can stick with it and keep a stable gameplay going until championship.
Yeah,
I don't think that team is down and out, and I don't
yeah,
think they'll keep falling.
yeah. Oh, can we talk about why you have final boss Zenith at 10 though? I mean, I know you beat them, but 10? Is there something you
Uh,
saw that like, or what's going on
so
there? Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to disrespect the team or anything like that, but it
You
wasn't just
it's allowed here if you
how
want to.
it wasn't. No, but I also don't want to. It wasn't just that we beat them. It
Hmm.
was the how the games felt. It
Okay.
it felt like we were in charge of the game the entire time. Um, and there are a lot of sure, micro mistakes that are being made that we addressed earlier with their AD and eating forward or whatever, and their support not buying their team space, etc. But just a lot of like small macro mistakes as well, tempo mismanagement and stuff like that that really gave us room to just kind of do what we wanted to. I personally did not feel like either game was close.
Hmm.
Which, considering how everybody felt about us going into that game, I feel like setting them at a lower standard is fair.
Okay.
Um, I will say, before going into those games, I sat down and watched every single one of their games against other teams, and I was very easily able to pick apart what the issues that their team has.
Mm.
And when we went into it with the game night on Monday, we
Hmm.
were able to just pick apart those issues, no problem. So if anybody actually does their homework
Hmm.
and figures out where that team's weaknesses are,
Hmm.
I don't think there is any other team within that mid-range bracket that
Hmm.
couldn't do the same thing.
Chelsea, you know I'm gonna ask him, right?
Ask him.
You know I'm gonna ask him. Daigen,
What's up?
you know what I'm about to ask you, right?
What? No, I have no idea.
Oh well, here, let me preface it like this. Whatever you can tell us that you are willing to say, what were one of the issues that you identified?
Um, I think the two biggest ones
Hmm.
is that their support is by far the weakest player.
Okay.
And just seems a little lost and will not cover for their uh, very high micro and aggressive ADC's
You
playstyle.
just realizing you're talking about my boy Bravo, not
I
CCS
am, yeah.
Bravo, not
I
not Horizon Gaming Bravo. Oh wow.
I
Okay, go
I
on, go
feel
on.
like
Continue.
and no flame, and I don't mean to throw shade, but I think being able to buy space for Rezi,
Mm-hmm.
who is a pretty good micro player,
Mm-hmm.
would do the team a lot of justice. And being able to sit there and facilitate him, which wasn't being done, could do them a lot of good in the long run. And then besides that, their team identity is definitely drafted around facilitating their jungler through mid lane and stuff like that. And so if your team has a really good mid laner who can hand stiff the enemy team, and you can get rid of champions that um, are safe against those kind of picks,
Mm-hmm.
then I feel like your team can really take control of the game through mid lane, which is essentially what our team did, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm sorry. I just had a moment of, when I
I
imagined
saw you
doing a
cover your
CCS,
mouth there, Chelsea.
when I
And
when I when I when I imagined a CCS podcast, and
uh,
I imagined my role on a CCS podcast, um, I imagined a moments like this where a player beats another team and then goes and calls the role opponent dog shit, and it just warmed my heart. It warmed my my
you're about
my
to scare me. I
my
was
cold
like,
heart. I
Okay,
was
but
just so proud
no,
of you in
Daigen,
that
you're
moment.
fine because
no,
this
no,
is
no, no, no. But I will
no,
say,
no, 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 wait. No, I'm gonna cut you off first because I know you're new to the CCS, so you did nothing wrong. This is what we do here. I just want you to know
oh no,
this.
I don't even think I
This is
did anything wrong.
expected. Okay. Oh,
All I was gonna say was
Oh.
I felt like my role in both of the games were easier than Bravo's role. He had to contribute more for the success of the game than
Mhm.
I had to contribute, and I don't think he pulled it off, and I don't think he facilitated his team.
Mhm.
But even like if you take game one for example, I had Leona, and literally my entire job was just to make sure that PPP didn't make any micro mistakes bot lane and knew where we needed to be and when. To sit there and peel him so I didn't even have to engage for our team, and to commit my ultimate to getting Ezreal's cleanse and or catching him out on the team. So if you look at it like what I had to do to provide for the team, it was not a very tall order, right? But Bravo had a lot to do to be able to facilitate his team, and I don't think he pulled that off. And I think he also deserves to be called out for it because I think a lot of the blame is going on Rezi, but I don't think it should.
Yeah, and Flay has a different comment that he says you can call him, but I'm not gonna go do that far.
Um,
Um, Go ahead,
I
Chelsea.
will
Before we
say,
move on to the next slide.
not that I'm a before when I was just content, I feel like I could sort of freely speak my mind
Uh huh.
on how I think teams should be beaten and should not be beaten. Um, I don't think I can give my opinion on what final boss is like. I can give like my full honest opinion on what final boss's strengths and weaknesses are. I do have strong opinions. I do think there are exploitable weaknesses in just in terms of like, you know, and not like in a fault of like X player is bad or whatever, but with certain teams, this is true for all teams. There are certain ways that a team is going to be good at playing, and certain ways that a team is not going to be good at. And each team's going to have its strengths and weaknesses. And I think Final Boss is one of the teams, and there are many in this league that have very defined strengths and weaknesses. And I think if teams figure those out and exploit them, it is going to be pretty rough for them.
Sorry, just texted my partner back there. But yeah, let's move on to the next slide here because we do need to wrap the show up. And our next slide will be. Did I break it? Oh, there we go. I was like,
Yeah, there we go.
I'm like, where is it? Week 4 prediction. So yeah, let's get right into it. And Daigen, we'll start with you once again, and then we'll go to me, and then we'll end with Chelsea.
Let's go match
I
by
was
match instead of
I was
person by
not
person.
prepared for this at all.
That's good.
That's the
Means you get
point.
your real takes.
Yep.
Con versus Lotus, Daigen.
I actually think this could go either way. I don't even want to say that one team will take the two, but I do think it will be a 2-1 game. This is one of the games I'm probably most interested to see, just because I think this is a good opportunity for Khan to show their time to shine against Lotus, which is that very bottom of that separate upper bracket that I had separated out from the rest of the ranks, right? So I actually don't even want to say who will take the 2 and the 2-1, but I do think this will be a 2-1 slogfest and probably a good watch.
I know you don't want to say it, but you do need to say it before we move on. So
Yeah, we stand with
like,
conviction here.
You know what? I'm gonna give it to Khan just because I want to see them
There we
succeed.
go.
I believe
that's
in
fair.
Khan.
That's a valid reason. Redacted, Con Lotus.
Oh, we're going match by match and for each person. Okay, sure.
That might have been what I said.
Oh,
It was what I said.
I wasn't listening. I was getting my ice cream order sent. Anyway, Con Lotus. God damn, this is gonna be tough now because Lotus has been floundering. Should I believe? Part of my brain wants me to believe y'all and think Lotus has the juice, cause y'all said that his not his, but their schedule, their hardest matches are now over. But Khan is also been looking like a pretty good team. So I'm gonna go 2-1 Khan.
2-1 Con.
Yeah.
All right, my turn. I previously last week on the podcast said that I did not think Con would take more than 2 individual game win. I don't remember if it's the next 3 weeks or the next 4 weeks. Um, you know what? What I'll do is I'll go look at the schedule to see what I thought. So Con played Dorado this week, last week, play Lotus this week. They play Final Boss next week. They play Hydra the week after. And so what I'll do, I know it didn't include 5 weeks. I'm gonna extend the thing to the total of 5 weeks. So weeks 3, 4, 5, 6, and the one after 6. And I will say that in the total of those 5 weeks, they're getting at most 3 individual games. I don't think any of them are gonna be this week. I'm gonna say 2 Lotus.
2-0 Lotus over Khan.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not
I think strength of schedule is going to hit them like a truck.
hit Khan or Lotus. Sorry. Let me.
Con, oh my god.
No. Anyway, go on. Go on, man.
All right.
Come on.
No, I think I I think Lotus Downfall is bad, but I do think it's being overplayed. Um, I think the match that Khan
Anarchio Demon's
has the
begging in
best
chat,
chance
by
to
the way.
the best chance that Khan has to prove me wrong in the bet, I don't think is this week, but I think it is um whenever they play Final Boss. I think they have a higher chance of upsetting me in that match than this one. So I'm gonna say 2 Lotus. Syndicate True TMG. Let's
Daigen, what's your prediction?
yeah, Daigen, what you got?
All right, I want to be honest. I think the thing that
And
will
wait,
bite Syndicate
Wait, sorry,
in
Daigen. Can
the
I
end.
BM just a little bit more? What's your
Oh, go for it. Go
prediction
for it.
and how long do you think the match will be?
Why are you asking that? He's setting up for a Syndicate loss, by the way, by how he's speaking.
Like
No, no,
the
no, no, no.
total
Okay.
time frame of
Okay.
both matches or
So-
3. Like
I think that the same thing that will eventually bite Syndicate in the ass is the exact same reason why these are going to be 15-minute FFs on the side of TMG.
Oh.
Okay.
oh my
Syndicate is going to run over TMG, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way to TMG. I just mean Syndicate is probably one of the most aggressive teams currently in CCS, and I think what makes them a strong team during this early season is the fact that they're going to constantly be in your face. They're going to be constantly fighting you for everything. They're going to be making plays that they're not always necessarily allowed to make. And so while all these teams are really chaotic and don't quite have everything together, Syndicate's really running them over. I don't know if that will be the case later in the season, but I don't think that TMG will be able to stand up to that.
Chelsea, this man said I don't want to BM, but said they're gonna FF in both games in 15.
Okay, that was definitely too far. That was definitely too far.
You know, it's crazy. It's crazy you said that because I scrimmed lost last week and he FF'd in 15 against us, so he's gonna perpetuate the cycle of violence.
That's crazy. The cycle.
The context was that his mid laner was lagging, but like I think it's funnier if I don't include that context, so I'm not gonna include it.
The cycle of violence is crazy. But yeah, I also have Syndicate 2 on TMG. I'm sorry, Cone and Cool One. It's just looking rough to believe in you guys right now. I'm sorry, and your Syndicate's a pretty good team, so unless they're playing with one eye and screens off, I don't see it happening. And I think total game time will be less than 2 hours.
I will also say Syndicate 2-0 TMG. However, if Masters 100 plus LP top laner Nubly loses to TMG, I think Flay's gonna have a field day. I think he's gonna be jumping up and down in his office with 7 more Jack and Cokes. So I almost want to see TMG win. That's the funniest outcome. But even the hope of humor cannot save this prediction. All right, let's move on. Iota final boss. Daigen, make your call.
Oh, we're just putting me on the spot every time, eh?
Yes,
Um,
that is the
it's-
purpose of this.
Yeah.
I can't wait for trash talk later. Anyways,
Oh yeah, they're good. They're definitely gonna at you.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be hanged. Dorado Gaming Iota is definitely looking like a 2-0 towards final boss in my opinion. I just think that team is too strong. I had them ranked number 1 for a reason, or number 2 or whatever it was, and I think into the championship I said number 1. I think individually, all of their players are better, and I think as a team, they're just going to tear them apart.
Okay.
Redacted.
I also have Iota over Final Boss, but not. I'm not gonna go as brutal as what Daigen said. Fuck. What do I want to predict this score though? I mean, I'm I'm gonna give it 2-1 to Iota. I still think I'm not gonna give up on Bravo just yet, just because Bravo has history here, and we've seen him grow as a player. So I'm gonna have a little bit of faith that they'll at least get a match, but I don't think they'll get the series. So yeah, Iota 2-1 for me over Final Boss. But if there's anything to be, believed by what you said, Daigen, not saying you're lying, but it sounds like Iota is probably gonna suffocate the series. So we'll see.
All right. My call, Iota 2-0 final boss. I think if I'm going to put them at their champion as a championship team, I think this is about when they need to start showing
Be
championship
right back.
form. Okay. Unctacted's gonna be gone. So now it's just the cool people in the call. So Daigen, XSV Civil War, who you got?
In all honesty, I'm not sure. I'm gonna give it a 2-1 in favor of Rush. Um, Honestly, just because I know some of the players there, and I don't really know the players on Hydra. But I definitely think this is going to be one of the games to watch. One of the two of the top teams battling it out, as I have it.
Um, yeah, that's fair. I'm gonna say 2-0 Rush because I looked at the match results for Hydra and I think seeing Sutex 1 and 12 Shyvana made me throw up in my mouth. So I think he deserves some divine retribution for that. And that is going to be losing the Civil War match. Alright, Unctacted is gone. DOV Twisted New Origins.
Um, Again, another one where I don't know where to put them. I think I had both of those teams neck and neck in the ratings, but they were both on the lower bracket. I'm just gonna go with 2-1 New Origins, just because that is probably one of the teams I'm least certain about in general and have seen the least amount of what they can do.
I'm going to say 2-1 DOV because I think Smoke is going to prove himself to be the GOAT.
Oh, true. I did not take that into consideration that they had a new player.
Okay, I'm actually being corrected. Sutek said, quote, get your eyes checked. I went 3 and 9. Espada went 1 and 12. And then he said a word that was not very nice after. And so I will, formal retraction. Sutek did not go 1 and 12 on Shyvana. He went 3 and 9 on Shyvana. And Espada went 1 and 12 on Maokai Top. Um, you guys both still suck, but like, facts are facts are facts. Hands raised. You Um, yeah. And now he's coping in my DMs, and I'm just gonna leave that over there. Um, but yeah, we were talking about DOV New Origins. I believe in DOV. I ranked them above New Origins this week because I think DOV is the stronger team going into it, and I think it's like a bit of an upset compared to my preseason rankings at the very least. Obviously, there's been a lot of changes since then, but I think New Origins have not really high on the momentum train, and DOV are. So I think DOV will carry that away. Skyloft Spire, Gojo's Gym.
I am personally in favor of Skyloft Spire. I think they're part of that middle bracket, and I don't think they should struggle too much against Gojo's Gym and their performance they've demonstrated so far. Um, I would say maybe a 2-1. I don't think it'll be a 2-0 stomp out, but I do think it will be a 2-1 in favor of Skyloft.
I personally think the wheels off the Gojo's bus have they've come off. They're no longer going round and round. Um, Learn New Lanes, aka Jax, was just benched. And he was benched second. And I know in my preseason tier list, I had the sort of bench order sort of predicted, and um,
Sorry, I'm
they
back.
they they've
What I
they've already
miss?
used up all of their benchings. In fact, if we look at Gojo's Gym's
Oh
roster,
damn, y'all on Gojo's
um,
already?
yeah, actually, if we look at Gojo's Gym roster, it doesn't matter because Flay doesn't update the goddamn sheet. Um, so instead, what we're going to do is we're going to go to CCS roster changes. Um, Obviously Joey got kicked first, and I did predict that. That was, I mean, he didn't even make it to any of the matches, which is endlessly hilarious. But apparently, I mean, I don't know if Jax got benched or if Jax learn new lanes, please. If he
Mm-hmm.
got benched, if he left, whatever. Him being gone is not not good for the stocks, because he was my second least likely to not get least likely to get benched, but behind the King Nats himself. So
Mm-hmm.
it's looking really bad. In Skyloft, I think their 0-3 record is kind of fake. So, yep, 2-0 Skyloft.
Yeah. Do you want me to
And then,
speed through my predictions real quick and catch up to y'all before y'all
Yeah,
get
I
to
think you were
uh,
at
theory? Yeah, XX.
XSV.
That one is. I'm so hyped for that, but that it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a 2-1 rush. Um, just because I like. Just once again, I have Rush at number one, so it wouldn't make sense for me to say Rush is gonna lose. Um, but Hydra also is a good team, but I think Hydra does have a little bit of shakiness. Um, so yeah, I'm giving it to Rush just to edge him out, 2-1, and then New Origins over DOV. Um, I'm gonna give this one 2-1 to DOV. Just because once again I said they do have some exploitable, or not exploitable, but they do have some things they can clean up to be a stronger team. But if New Origins is able to capitalize on those things and those mistakes, then they could swing it their way. But yeah, I still think DOV will take it over New Origins. And then Skyloft over Gojo's. I think it's finally time for Skyloft to get their first series win. Uh, I'm gonna damn near say 2-0 Skyloft Spire. I need it to happen. I need it to happen. I think Skyloft can get the 2-0 and break their 1-2 curse. Gojo's Gym, I'm sorry, Nats, like if you're listening or when you do listen, the Shadow Z, the Shadow Z, the Shadow Z shadow is just it lingers. It's there. Um, so yeah, I don't think Shadow Z has ever been really successful at the plat Emerald Elo. So yeah, that's my prediction on that. So now we can get to our now match of the
Toe
week.
versus Elysium.
Well, our other match of the week, because both matches are matches of the week actually. Both
I
really
mean, this
hype.
is match of the week. Like
For
to
Toe it
give
is.
a little
For Toe it
give a
definitely
little
is.
peek behind the curtains in terms of how the CCS operates. Is
Oh yeah.
we have an internal stream schedule
Yes,
which
we
we do
do.
not share to people because it's very subject to change.
Mm-hmm.
And this TOE Elysium match was originally, when we planned it. I say we
It
when
was
I
not
planned
planned
it
to
at
be
the start.
streamed.
Yeah, when I planned at the start of the split, I did not plan for this match to be streamed. But obviously, we don't publish it so that we can be adaptable for stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
TOE Elysium, with TOE taking the win over Final Boss, people want to know if this TOE team is legit. And Elysium, I feel like, is a perfect
Mm-hmm.
sort of test
Mm-hmm.
for them.
Mm-hmm.
Sort
Mm-hmm.
of a middle of the pack Group B team. I think it's also great for to watch cross group matches in general
Mm-hmm.
because it's really the only way we have to power scale these two groups,
And
and I do
TOE
think it'll be
picked
a competitive
Elysium,
match.
or I'm trying to remember who picked who or who didn't pick
So
who.
how in terms of who pick twos, the way the schedule works to create parity, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure the only way this double cross group format works is if during the regular season before Rivals Week,
Mm-hmm.
all of the matches are one group picking another.
Yeah.
So all of the before Rivals Week
No, I
matches
can.
are the Group A teams that pick the Group B
I'm
teams.
sure.
So, for example,
Yeah.
Lotus picked Rush, um, Syndicates picked New Origins, um, I believe, yeah, and DOV, no, TMG picked DOV, right? And so TOE did pick Elysium.
Yep, they
As
did.
far as I can
Yep,
tell,
I see it in the
I'm
tourney
I'm
chat.
90%
Yeah,
sure
you're
in
correct.
terms of the math, that's how it works.
Yep.
And that's also why it's interesting because, realistically, the Group B teams have been winning their cross groups. Like know, Rush beat Lotus, DOV beat TMG 2-0, and then the one Group A match was New Origins going down 1-2 against Syndicate, which in my opinion is like a good fight by New Origins considering they were ranked so much lower. And so it's interesting to see that these matchups that Group A has chosen are not going in their favor. And so Group A only has one savior left this week, and it's Toes. The Toes are going to have to save Group A because Group B is going to be on complete and utter fraud watch if TOE lose. And if you said that before last week, I'd call you an idiot because it's like it's TOE. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now that they've proven that they are actually here to contest the prize pool, it
Yeah.
becomes a lot more interesting for everyone involved.
And I want to let the folks know that us three, me, Flay, and Chelsea, we fight about the schedule. Actually, we even fought about it the very first draft we made. Like Chelsea blasted us because
Yes, because
she
you guys are worse at this than me objectively.
no, we were not. No, we
No,
were
we were
not.
not.
Here at the CCS, we try and guarantee that every team gets streamed once, and then we also look
You guys had
for.
like you guys
We
had
don't
like
have to
Syndicate
review
getting
the
streamed four
details,
times away.
Chelsea.
Four
We don't have
times.
to
I
reveal the
had a more balanced
details.
and more
No,
entertaining
you did
stream
not have a
schedule.
more balanced. You had a
Yes, I
more.
did.
Oh, we should care about every team and their storyline. Oh,
Oh God forbid God forbid
that's the
I want the
schedule you
people that
wanted.
Flay is charging an arm and a leg for to play in our goddamn league. God forbid I
We
want them to have
wanted
a good
max
time.
content and the hype games, but
But you guys skipped the hype
Chelsea's
game.
schedule
You
did end
guys
up
skipped the
winning.
hype game
Chelsea's schedule
because
did
it
end
was
up
better.
winning.
It was better.
It,
It is better. I don't even say was. It is better. Oh my God. And it's more flexible. See, we were able to put in TOE versus Elysium
correct.
because I considered things like
You
this
know what,
happening
Chelsea,
during
you're right, and
splits.
this is why everyone at home, you should listen to
Yes,
women.
there we go.
Listen to
You know,
women.
Chelsea, you're right. A very common statement
Yep.
here at the CCS.
Hey,
I
listen
hear
to
it from
women,
Redakted
y'all.
all the time. I hear it from Flay all the time.
Yep. Yep. But let's get to predictions. Did we get Daigen's prediction yet? I'm sorry.
No, we didn't.
Sorry,
I
Daigen.
think,
You're watching us arguing. That's a little bit of how our DMs actually go. I'm not kidding. But go ahead.
I think I'd be doing us an injustice if I didn't say we would win. I think TOE or TSF, however you want to call them, I think we're scaling. A lot like a lot of the other teams in the entire rankings. I think a lot of these mid-range teams are still scaling like crazy, and so everything could be turned on its head by the time we hit championship, right? But I think we're going to take it over Elysium. I do have confidence that we're coming together as a team, but I'm only going to say that it's a 2-1. I don't think it's going to be a stomp out. I think it's going to be two mid-ranked teams going at it, and I'm honestly really excited for the game.
Yeah, I definitely am too. Oh yeah, now it's my turn. TOE versus Elysium. You know, I egoed Chaser and A-Hop and Naysayer, I think 2 weeks ago. Sorry, Daigen, I gotta do it to you. I'm giving it to Elysium 2-1. I mean, kudos on the win, but I'm just not there yet to be convinced that you guys are a much stronger team than Elysium. If you do beat them, though, that will be great for me, and that will give me a better idea of where to place you all. But until I see that, I'm seeing is believing. So
I mean,
yeah,
I'm just happy to know that you'll be there next week.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I have Elysium 2-1. I do think you guys will take a game off them. And I believe in y'all because, I mean, it sounds like you guys do a lot of homework and whatnot compared to some other teams. And there's not a diss or a right or wrong way to prepare for comp. Some teams just show up and they are able to be better than other teams. Other teams, I'll speak back to the old days. We had Dorado Gaming Gamma. That team, their captain, Kush, was a fucking scientist. This guy literally was a mad scientist. He had notes, script. It was to a T. And they ended up winning the entire thing. But yeah, so like, it just really depends. But from what it sounds like, you guys do sound like a team that does try and do your homework and find your exploitable wins and whatnot. So if that happens, then I'll be very happy to be proven wrong. But until then, I'll need to see it. So, yeah, that's my prediction. And Chelsea, we'll leave it to you, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up here.
I've it's been a pleasure having Daigen on the cast. I think, hearing TOE and hearing their stories and hearing everyone doubt them last week and then them winning is, such a good storyline. And
Yep.
I love them
Yep.
to carry
Yep.
their momentum. And I'm really proud of TOE and I have a lot of faith in them. However, I am predicting them to lose 1-2 to
You
Elysium.
motherfucker.
I
You played it up just like me. Well, not even just like me. You
I
played it up.
I think everything Redacted said about TOE's journey is valid, and I do think that it is possible for them to win. And I don't want to say I'm rooting for them to win, but I think it would be very interesting if they do win. However, I'm gonna, instead of rehashing his points, I do want to talk about Elysium. I feel like content-wise, Group A is a lot louder than Group B, and Elysium has had a quietly like pretty strong season. They took a game off of Hydra. They 2-1 Skyloft Spire as everyone was done at this point, and I believe week two Elysium. No, that was week two was Hydra, and so week three they 2-1 Gojo's Gym, which is like a little bit of a slip. But I do think this Elysium team has good pieces. I've been using them sort of in discussions and in power rankings as sort of that like middle slice. And you know obviously if TOE want to break into the top half, they need to beat that middle slice. But the middle slice also shouldn't be content with being the middle slice, right? Like if you're Elysium, you put this roster together to win, right? Elysium is an organization that's pretty storied, and these are players that have been playing for them for a while, and these are seasoned comp veterans. And I don't think they are happy with being a middle slice. So I need them to show up. I need them to really prove that they deserve to be in that championship contender conversation. And I don't think this week alone is going to be that. But if they're not able to hold the line, if they let TOE's momentum run over them, then I don't think I'd ever be comfortable really like putting them as a championship contender.
Yeah. Totally agree. Totally agree. And then we'll probably have to start having some different discussions and looks at Elysium. But yeah, I think we'll go ahead and start to wind down the show. There will be no hotline league today, y'all. Sorry.
Well,
This
the next
this
slide
went
says
way
accepting
a bit
questions. We
longer
are
than
not.
we all planned, but it
It's
was great. I had a
7:52. We are not
blast.
accepting questions.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, please ping them at Flay in Trash Talk.
Yes.
Okay. That's shift 2. That's the @ sign, and then FLAY. Right. So make sure to ask all your questions to Flay.
Yeah. But Daigen, any last words or thoughts and comments from you before we sign off here?
No, I mean, I'm excited to see how next week goes without PPP carrying us, of course, and I really hope we can prove to everybody that we're scaling. That's all I got, man.
All right, Chelsea, you.
Thank you to everyone that watched and liked it, and then thank you to Sutek who watched and didn't like it.
Wait, why didn't he not like it? Because we were blasting their team, basically.
Yeah, Sutek doesn't like it when I flame him.
Oh, grow up.
In my defense, it's really funny though, so I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, keep doing it. All right then, y'all. Thank you so much for staying with us throughout this almost 2-hour podcast. Once again, this is crazy because last split I really kept it at like an hour 15. I don't know how we're hitting 2 hours consecutively. Not that I'm complaining, but it's just very interesting.
I know exactly why we're hitting 2 hours. It's because nobody can shut me up anymore.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you all so much for watching the CCZone. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned and stay tuned and stay active as the CCS Apollo League will return next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and the CCZone will be. We now have a schedule. We have a set schedule, y'all. So we're gonna be on every Wednesday. Unless Chelsea egos me. I'm looking at you in the camera here, Chelsea. We're gonna be on every Wednesday. I won't say a time.
And this guy's like yapping at me like I didn't go to work. I went to work at fucking 6 in the morning. Then I came back and then
That's
I moved
not
to
what
my
we're
other
saying.
job.
Anyway,
And then I
we're
finished
gonna
to
be
make the
on
slides for this
every
goddamn
Wednesday.
show. And you're talking about every Wednesday,
Yeah, you
motherfucker, man. I'm
goddamn right.
sick
We're
and
gonna be
tired
on
of you.
every
Hey,
And you're
Wednesday
an
while
old,
my
bald
co-host. You know what?
piece of
Hold
shit,
on.
fucking
Y'all
low
want
elo,
to see something
fucking
funny?
jungle dog didn't.
All right. So while Chelsea talks into the nether realm, we're gonna be on every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And stay tuned and thank you all for joining us until the next time. Love you and stay safe and have a good rest of your week. Peace out.